Hello, this is windPRO from EMD. I'm going to be talking about the road construction tool that is new in windPRO 3.1, and it is a part of the basis module. Here you can see the new object. I can insert it here. And here in the top you have some fields that is relevant to the dig and fill calculation, and down here you have some thing about the costs. I'm just going to restore the EMD defaults, and you can see here if you create a road that needs to that demands you do some digging, then you can define the costs, and here you can define how much it costs to fill. And if there's a difference and you may need to dispose something, or you may need to import something, you can define what that is going to cost. You can define some startup costs, some base costs per square meter, and what currency you're going to be using. Okay. And now the object is in edit mode, and I can start creating roads. I can create many roads, lines to this, connected to this one object. I'm right clicking here, I want the road to start here. Create new road. Then I can give the road a name and a color and define the geometry of the road here. You can see the width and the cut and fill slope, the max slope of the road, how far steep it can go up or downhill, the minimal vertical radius, defining this curve and this curve here, and equally the horizontal radius, minimum horizontal radius, defining how sharp bends you can make. So if I click OK now, you can see I have started to create a road here, and it at the same time as I'm digitizing the road, it would calculate a profile and also calculate the dig and fill that is calculated here. So I'm going to put in these 2 points, and you can see here if I try to zoom in a little bit, you can see that the road tried to follow the line I'm digitizing. And if I'm making the bend too sharp, then I would end up with a red stop sign, just meaning that I tried to define something that is impossible. And while I'm doing this, you can see there's a status window. I'm just going to click here and say stop. I have a status window up here that is runtime is calculating the length and the costs of the road, and all this I can copy that to the clipboard and try and see how it looks in Excel. I'm just moving in Excel here. I'm pasting in here, so you can see all the statistics about the roads, and down here you have the road itself, the center of the road in this coordinate system. So this is the way you export the results from windPRO. So you can see up here in the profile view, when I move the cursor back and forth, you can see where it is down on the map. I can reverse the view if I find it more convenient. And you can see the green parts up here is where the landscape is not steeper than what I defined as the max slope here, 8 degrees. But here with the red parts, that's where the surface is steeper. So here you can see that the black line, which is the road, the calculated road, it cannot not follow the terrain because the terrain is too steep. So it needs to you need to fill up something here, and I can see this if I open the section view. You can see here, this is out here, you have the road here, and you can see if, like in this case, we needed to fill up here with something, and in most other cases you can see the road is just lying flat on the ground. If I now took this part of the road and extended it down here, I'm going to reverse the view again, you can see that it's going down a very, very steep hill, and we need to cut off the whole hilltop, and you can see in the section view that is gonna end up with a ridiculously high amount of digging, and the cost is exploding. So we have, this is a very expensive road, so this would not be a good idea. And down here we have some filling, so this was just to show you how it looks. If I zoom in a little bit here, as you can see here down on the road here, the blue parts, that is where we have a lot of digging, because the dig and fill calculation is done in a grid, and each grid cell is calculated, and it is calculated how much each grid cell in this grid contributes to either the digging or the filling. And this grid, you can see, you can define this grid in here, and it's set to 5 meters each grid cell. You can set it up to make the calculation faster, which is nice when you digitize a road, because it's calculating runtime, or you can set it down maybe when you're finished to get a more accurate result. And this is how far away from the road it is going to be calculating. 20 meters it's set to here. You can see here in the section view it only calculates 20 meters out from the center of the road, and then it stops. So it's going to be ignored if there's anything that needs to be digged or filled more than 20 meters away from the road center. Of course you can set it up, and then it's going to be slower, and maybe it's not relevant if you want to create a road that needs so much digging or filling. Like in this case, 20 meters is just enough, and still this may be something you would try to avoid, to have such a huge amount of digging like this. As you can see, the road tries to follow the lines you digitized, but you can also right click on a point like this and say that the road must pass this point. Then it would go through the point, but it will not follow the lines. So, and also it would in the vertical plane, it would also go through the point here. So the points you set to the road must pass points is locking the road to the surface in this particular point. So that's is something that you should also carry in mind. That is a way to influence the profile view, as well as a way to influence the horizontal position of the road. I'll just try to continue the road here. If I can find it, continue road. Yes, it's centering to the cursor position. If I hold down the control key while I'm adding points, you can see, this is then the points are added as must pass points. I want to say stop. So now it's passing these points. So that's a faster way to instead of right clicking afterwards, you can hold the control key down while adding them. You can see down I got a problem here. It's not able to add a curve here apparently, so I'm trying to move it a little bit. Then you can see it can. Now you can see that it is impossible when you drag it out here. when now I got errors up here. That is because out here I locked this point here. This point is locked to the surface, and as well as this point. So I forced the road to go from the surface here to the surface down here, and that is way too steep. So if I removing that this must pass here, I still forced it to go through this point, and I forced it to go through this point. I still get an error. So I need to, well, I still get an error. It's because this whole terrain is extremely steep. And I still get an error. It's going from this point up here and down to the end. That is also the start and the end of the road is always locked to the surface of the terrain. So it cannot be done without having a road that is too steep. So now I could. So, but still it has to go as steep as possible all the way from this point here and all the way down here. So okay, this is not a very realistic road, so maybe we could try and make it more realistic. And you can see that we have an existing road out here, so maybe we can try and take the road down here somehow. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see that we have some very steep areas around here. Now I'm just going to say I want to continue road, and then it's just bringing the progress bar. It's recalculating the calculation grid, because it's this dig and fill grid it calculates. It's I managed to add a point out there. But what I was just saying is that the dig and fill calculation grid is calculated just big enough to cover the area where the road is. So when I expand the road, it may need to create a new grid sometimes. So you'll see it comes up with this calculating grid progress bar sometimes. But now I press backspace, and then it erased the last point in on the road here. I'm keeping pressing backspace until I'm back here. I'm zooming out and out again. So now I'll just try and see if how I can get the road down without having too much dig and fill. I think it would be a good idea to try and take it down here. I'm following the contour lines. I can move the map while pressing down the scroll on the scroll on the mouse. So I'm just going to quickly digitize something, and then so now I expanded the area so much that it needs to expand the grid. You see, the longer the road gets, the slower it also gets. So that is that maybe if you have a very long road, you might consider to split it up into shorter parts. So now I'm just going to say, oh, did I manage to get a no? Delete it with the backspace, and I'm going to again add this one and add a point there. Right click and say stop. So as you can see up here, it is not exactly the cheapest road in the world, but maybe we can make it a little cheaper. I'm going to hide the section. You can see that we have some parts here where there's something is going wrong for us. If I zoom in a bit, you can see that here I have a lot of digging, so maybe I could try to move the road somehow. And one of the ways you can do it here in windPRO is you can click on a point here and you can say optimize this point to minimize costs. windPRO would start moving around this point and try to find a position that has less costs than the original position. So you can see the cost before and the costs after optimization, and you can press stop when you think that the costs after optimize is stop decreasing. So it may jump around quite a lot, and even after it looks like it's settled down after another I think it is 50 iteration years, then it would start jumping around more, but it remembers the best position it found. So whenever you think it's stopped decreasing this one, I don't want to wait too long because it's very slow with this long road here, but I press stop now, and then it would have moved the point to a better position than the one we had before. And you can see here that there's not the same amount of digging involved as there was just before. So you can see that the road costs now is about 1.3 million euro, and I'm pretty sure that you can get that amount down if you try to inspect some of the places where you can see that there's problems. For instance, here you can see that there is a lot of digging. So again, this might be a good idea to try and move, for instance, this point. It looks like that helped a lot. And with I could increase the size of the calculation grid cells to speed up this process here. And as I said before, a long road is slower. So this may be something that we want to improve in future versions. But so far, this is how it's done in this version. I'll try to stop it. So now we're down to about 450,000 euro. I think here that looks like this is something that's not as good as it could be. So where's that? That is around here. And you can see here we're crossing a lot of contour lines, so that is of course a bad sign. So maybe I could, I think moving this point down a bit, I think maybe help. I could try to do it manually. That didn't help, so I'll just try to let windPRO do it automatically. So we can get down about 457,000 euro. Just pressing stop here. Then I'm gonna try the other point. It doesn't look like it's gonna make it any better. But anyways, so I still think that this part is where we have the most costs really, because if I look at the section view, right here you can see we have a lot of filling, but yeah, I hope you get the idea of how to do it. And again, of course you can insert more points or remove points, and that way try to optimize the road. And when you're finished, you may want to go into the properties, and if you set this one up, I think 5 meters as a calculation grid should be fine. But if you have set it up maybe to 10 or something like that, or maybe higher, then you could go down finally in here and enter the final value. And then it would recalculate the dig and fill. And then you could, after that, you could copy it to clipboard, and then you got your road. You can paste it in Excel or somewhere else like that. So I think that is about it for now. So I think I will say thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.